Hi everyone, this is Megan Bansell, your cancer expert, and I'm the owner and CEO of Cancer Peace University. And we created Cancer Peace University with you in mind. It is our goal to set you free from the fear of cancer. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the problem of pain, talking about pain and cancer, and looking at a specific protocol to support someone with chronic pain that has also a cancer diagnosis. Pain is a huge problem with those diagnosed with cancer and needs to be managed well. And first I want us to understand how the body interprets pain, how pain is processed in the body, and what will help the body to lessen the interpretation of pain. The first thing we need to talk about is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the reality that your brain acts like a muscle and can be built up to have new pathways developed, to be reorganized and to grow and develop, and to be able to make new pathways and to even make connections with the subconscious mind. And plasticity of the brain is a fascinating topic that is correlated with our perception of pain. Let's talk a little bit more about plasticity, and then we can talk about chronic pain and how plasticity and chronic pain are connected within our bodies. Chronic pain is something that can be hardwired into our brain even after an injury has been resolved within our body. Your brain creates neural pathways that have the potential of staying connected and having something called long-term potentiation, which is the long-lasting ability for neurons to communicate to one another. Your neurons contain the soma, which is the central part that contains the nucleus, also dendrites, which are tree-like extensions that receive inputs to create connections between neurons, as well as axons, and axons will transmit signals in order to communicate to other neurons within the brain. And it's very interesting that you can develop the dendrite branches to create more connections through stimulating the brain. And a lot of this stimulation occurs by learning something new or novel. So anytime you learn a new language, you learn a new skill, you also learn a new dance or read a book, and you're learning new information, you're creating new neural pathways. And what's even more of a benefit is when you create pathways and create an expertise in an area where you're becoming fluent. Like when you become fluent in a language, this is what increases the potential for long-term potentiation, which allows neurons to wire together and fire together for a long-term capacity. And this is like when you're learning to ride a bike, and when you don't ride a bike for a long period of time and you go back, because of long-term potentiation, you can easily start riding the bike again. And this is why it's important for some of the skills that we learn to develop those skills in a form of an expertise, like how we ride a bike, and we might take a break from riding a bike but easily be able to start again because of the strong neural connections that have been developed in the brain. This is an example of positive plasticity. But with chronic pain, we can experience something called negative plasticity. And negative plasticity is the reality that when your body perceives pain and you create neural pathways in the brain to perceive that pain, and they are stored with long-term potentiation, these pathways can continue to fire after an injury is resolved and no longer the source of the pain. Now the pain has simply been imprinted in the brain, and the perception of pain continues despite the resolve of the injury. Another example of negative plasticity is in the case of amputees. Those that have amputated limbs sometimes complain of something called phantom pain. And phantom pain is feeling the pain of a limb that no longer exists because of their perception of pain in the brain, that it was imprinted because of the trauma. And this type of plasticity can occur as well in situations of PTSD. Well, now that we understand about negative plasticity and chronic pain, we can also look at how the body receives the imprints of pain to create these neural connections in the first place. For a long time, it was viewed that the brain was a passive recipient of pain. And it was even viewed that the brain had pain receptor sites. But this would allow for pain to be a blanket experience of not differing thresholds. But what we see in reality is that we all have a different experience of pain and different thresholds of pain, because pain in the brain experiences with pain, and it's also based on how we perceive, how serious we perceive the injury. When I had my son, Cadell Noble, in August, I had a C-section and experienced some of the worst pain that I've ever experienced. And I am not very good with pain, and so my perception of pain, I literally felt like I was being cut in half. And so my perception of pain, I viewed the injury very seriously and also had a hard time making the decision and having to do the C-section. And so my perception of pain was heightened as well. And one of the things that I used that helped my body to release endorphins and reduce my perception of pain was CBD oil. CBD oil is cannabidiol, and cannabidiol is able to communicate to the body in order to reduce pain within the body. This is because the body perceives pain through something called the gate control theory of pain. In 1965, Patrick Walls discovered the gate control theory of pain, and he discovered basically that there's gates that will allow pain to come into the brain to communicate to neurons and allow neurons to transmit the signal of pain, starting the process of creating pathways for the perception of pain. Or the body will close the gate by releasing endorphins and causing the endorphins to block the passage of pain and to keep the brain from perceiving pain within the body. This was discovered when U.S. troops in Italy found that 70% of men seriously wounded on the battlefield did not ask for painkillers. It did not perceive pain despite the fact of having serious wounds, because their body was able to close the gate on pain by releasing endorphins and protecting the body from the shock and trauma that might lead to them actually dying on the battlefield. And so the one thing that I love about using cannabidiol and CBD oil is that cannabidiol works by communicating to opioid receptor sites and actually causing the gate to close on pain by releasing endorphins. And cannabidiol will communicate to opioid receptors, to different receptor sites in the brain, blocking the perception of pain, closing the gate on pain by releasing those endorphins and by reducing inflammation within the body. And so I love using cannabidiol, CBD oil, when some of my clients have pain, especially chronic pain with a cancer diagnosis. Also, immune cells have opioid receptor sites that can also receive cannabidiol in order to stimulate the immune system. If you are interested in learning more about becoming an instructor with Cancer Peace University, I'm going to be launching my next full course in March of 2019. If you want to enroll, enrollment is now open. If you'd like to schedule a free 20-minute consult about Cancer Peace University and becoming an instructor, please send me a personal message, PM me, to set up a free 20-minute consult, and I'd love to share more about Cancer Peace University and how to become an instructor. The first person to set up a free 20-minute consult, I will send you a free book, and I look forward to connecting with you and seeing how I can help you. Have a great day.